Good Monday morning, everyone. It's time for Get Your Horns Up, and I gotta say, the intro song has grown on me over the time, but it does not match the feeling that this show should be today. It's a party. That smooth, mellow jazz music doesn't. It just doesn't fit today. Your Texas Longhorns are Big 12 champs and going to the playoffs. Guys, I am Travis Galey. I'm joined by Orange Blood's Aaron Little and Nash from Nash Talks Texas. Are you guys still buzzing?
I mean, this is a 1 hour party. This is going to be a 1 month party. I mean, we'll have serious talks eventually, but yeah, this is pretty incredible. I said to you guys yesterday, I obviously grew up a Texas fan. Being born in 1998, I was technically alive for Vince Young, but I don't remember any of the good stuff. Yesterday was probably the best day I've ever had as a Texas fan ever. Yeah, feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not. Saw this coming. Saw a college football play. I do wish we still won that Oklahoma game so we could have that on the record. But man, Aaron, yeah, I will say I barely remember those Vince Young years. And this is about all that I remember. I remember being so pumped up. First I remember there was a family that they had it was just like my mom's family friend. They just happened to be over. They didn't care about college football or anything like that, but they just started rooting for USC because they liked the state of California more. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Get out of my house, please. I don't need this negative energy going on right now. I don't need you cheering for good plays. And then I just remember after Vince Young winning, I went out in the cul-de-sac and I literally played football, just tossed a football up with myself, and I was reenacting that entire national championship after that. Well, so this is a great feeling. I haven't felt this feeling in a long time.
I was in the Rose Bowl for Vince Young and USC, so this team still has a long way to go to match that level of excitement for me. So we still got more to do. There's still more work to be done, but for today it's a celebration. Listen, we're going to do things a little backwards. Normally we would break down the game and then look ahead kind of towards the rest of this week. We got to flip-flop it. We got to talk playoffs first, and then we will get to the Big 12 championship game in a minute. But first, a couple of news and notes. Texas women's basketball, 80, UConn 68. This UConn team is not the same UConn team they have been, but I don't care. When Texas beats UConn, you celebrate that too, damn it. That happened yesterday afternoon. That was a hell of a win by the Horns. Another thing, now this is football related. Texas linebacker coach Jeff Choate appears to be headed to Nevada. Of course, he's been a head coach already before, was quite successful before taking the job at Texas. So this isn't much of a surprise, but look, the job he's done with Jalen Ford and now Anthony Hill and David Benda, who I think is one of the most underrated players on this team, he has done a phenomenal job. Mo Blackwell's looked good. He's done a great job with these linebackers. This will be a loss, but it's not one that's insurmountable, right?
Yeah, this is just how it goes, right? Go ahead, Nash.
I mean, I think that this is to say it's not instrumental. I don't know if I'd go, because he's had such a profound impact on our linebackers. This is going to be a massive loss, but I think what Steve Sarkisian's shown us is he's had an ability to go out and hire the right guy. There's something to be said about coaches that go out and hire the right coaches. And honestly, that's one of the more underrated parts of playoff football teams and good football teams that are consistently good. You look at a Bill Belichick. How has Belichick done that? It's not because Belichick coaches that team alone. No, because he's consistently hired coaches that have ended up going and being good head coaches. When you have you want a tree, right? That coaching tree, you want as many branches and leaves on that tree as possible. And Coach Steve Sarkisian, it looks like he's starting to get that tree going.
If coaches are not getting hired off your staff, then you're doing things wrong and you're not winning a lot of games and you're not developing players and you're not recruiting well. So if coaches are getting hired off your staff, I mean, Almar always says that's a sign of a healthy program. 100%. I mean, now you got to replace them, which Sark is more than capable of doing. This is just how it goes when you reach this level, and that's obviously where you want to be.
Absolutely. So it's a great point, both of you guys. Yeah, again, Sark has proven he can go higher. So nobody wants to see Cho leave, but on the other hand, you got to be happy for him. He's taken the next step in his career, and I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. He was already doing a great job as the head coach at Montana State, I think he was before. He's going to do a great job in Nevada. Good for him. Good for what are the Wolf Pack. Just brain farting the name of the Nevada nickname, but they're the Wolf Pack. Good for them. They're getting a good one in there. And the final news to note is, hey, the transfer portal is freaking open now. So, listen, everyone wants to talk about what the impact of being Big 12 champs are and college football playoff contenders are on recruiting. It's not going to impact this year's recruiting class very much. That's pretty much set in stone. It will impact the portal recruiting, though. That starts today. Texas is going to lose a player or two. It's natural. You hope it's not frontline players. You hope it's not starters, someone who can step into the two deep and make a real impact. But we'll see. You never know. So, but you have to believe that Texas is going to be in line to get some studs coming back, especially wide receiver. We know we're going to lose Xavier Worthy. We know Texas is going to lose Jordan Whittington. We know 90% sure Adonai Mitchell's out the door. Texas is going to lose some impact players, but they should be able to get some impact players coming back in to go along with the good young talent they've been developing. So all those things are going on. And in the meantime, one final thing before we get to the Specs chat line, and this, I got to say, again, we're going to talk Big 12 Conference Championship game here in a minute, but the best moment by far was seeing Jonathan Brooks on the field for the final play of the game. And listen, none of you won the Jonathan Brooks jersey. We were trying to give it away. None of you won it, but that's okay. You can still have it because you can go to Elite Sports Memorabilia, scan this QR code, and go snatch it up right now. Go get you a JB jersey. It can be under your Christmas tree. It'll be delivered just in time.
Looks great on a wall.
It looks great on the wall. Yeah, that's right. Nash pointing to it right over there. By the way, look at that. You see JB down there hanging up right next to Tavondre Sweat. Oh, somebody's smart. Somebody's on it right now. We mentioned Anthony Hill Jr. He's in the house. He's an ESM athlete. Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, Jordan Whittington, all of them. Listen, if there's a Longhorn player, more likely than not, you can get their jersey at Elite Sports Memorabilia, and it is tis the season. The one thing, though, we told you last weekend was your last chance to jump on Kelvin Banks pre-order. Well, turns out Kelvin Banks was a little busy yesterday because he got called into the office to go see if they were going to make the playoffs. So Kelvin Banks is lost. Your loss in that Kelvin Banks thing is Texas's gain, but it also gives you a little more time to pre-order your Kelvin Banks merchandise, which means you have not yet missed the boat on the ability to pre-order Kelvin Banks and get an autograph inscription if you want. So that's good news. That's great news all the way around. Texas is in the playoffs, and you get more time to get your Kelvin Banks jersey. So,
look, I will say, if there's a player that is added on to the Elite Sports Memorabilia roster, you can just about book that player's going to do something good at Texas.
Absolutely.
Somebody needs to go hire Brandon as a scouting guy because he's clearly got an eye for something over there.
Oh, look at that, by the way. Kelvin Banks signing today at 5. So get your pre-order in now. Literally, get your pre-order in now. You're running out of time now.
And this might be a good question for Brendan. Is it too late for inscriptions? I would probably guess so, but you never know. Brendan might have a different answer. Figure we get a good answer out of that.
I don't know. I hope not. Speaking of the Specs chat line, it is up and running, guys. Jump in on this, celebrate in the Specs chat line. We've got Lewis Gaines, who is mourning the loss of his Carthage Bulldogs in the playoffs. Sorry about that, Lewis, but we're glad you're celebrating the Longhorns. He's got his horns up, and he was first in the house, beating out Brandon, who is trying so hard. Listen, Brandon's not a morning guy, and look at him. He's trying to get that first in the line. I feel for you, Brandon.
Hey, me too, Brandon. Me too.
Yep. Well, we do mornings now because we got so much to celebrate. And it is what a great morning it is indeed. Michael Acosta with his horns up. We love it. Burnt orange blood in the house. CFP bound. It is a great time. It really is a great time to be a Texas Longhorn fan. Sandman in the house already talking Washington. Hey, we're going to get to it too. I know. Washington's pass defense is 122nd, which is why Sandman's already coming in. First team to 40 points wins. All right. Benny Rogers in the house. Good. His Malakoff Tigers did win this weekend. The longest horn is in. Sous vide is in. North End Zone King is in from Knoxville. We love it. Colton Bunting is in.
And we do have an answer, too. You have until 3 p.m. for your inscription. So scan that QR code. Get yourself a Kelvin Banks jersey. Get yourself a little inscription saying, "Hey, to Johnny from Kelvin Banks." Johnny might just think that Kelvin Banks actually wanted to say all that stuff to him. So that might make his life.
There you go. And I will say to you, Brandon, please don't do that. Don't jinx us, buddy. I get that would be very cool to have those on standby and ready to go. It really would. I get it. But come on, man. Don't
look the whole jinx thing with the preparing for the national champions. I kind of understand it, but don't let's be honest, in the age of 2023, where with media departments, if you don't think the media departments don't have national championship graphics ready to go,
absolutely,
and then also close game losses graphics ready to go. I mean, it's just that you got to be ready for every scenario.
I love
also,
this.
Jinx just aren't real because we're all adults and the tooth fairy doesn't exist either. It's just grow up.
Sandman wants to get an inscription to Ollie.
That's surprising coming from a pitcher, Aaron.
From Kelvin Banks. And to Chris, by the way, no, an inscription doesn't hurt the value. And look, unless you're just getting this to turn around and try and sell later, that's fine.
Well, I mean, even
just get the signature. But if you want the inscription for personal effects, no, absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't always hurt the value. I got a Ricky Williams jersey over there that says "Puff Puff Run" inscription. I think that just adds to the value.
Probably does. You're right.
I think that just grows in value as time goes on.
I wanted to hit this one real quick. I missed this before the show, but it is true. Kyle McCord's in the portal. So
wow, I missed that already.
Ohio State is definitely going to be looking for a quarterback.
Ooh, they've got
Malik Murphy.
They've got, it could be. There was those rumors that they were interested in Malik. They had several players hit the portal already, and I'm stunned. Kyle McCord is in there. I really am. Not to derail the show with portal talk because we've just got so much to talk about. Let's start though. College football playoffs. Texas is in. Michigan versus Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Texas versus Washington in the Sugar Bowl. It is a rematch of last year's Alamo Bowl. The 2023 Revenge Tour continues. Let me get y'all's initial reaction. What did you think? Were you surprised at all Texas made it first? And are you excited about the matchup or were you hoping for something different? Let's start with you, Aaron.
I mean, yeah, there was a lot of stuff running through my head over the weekend. Am I surprised Texas made it? I mean, yeah, the way the games played out was not the scenario that I was envisioning going into the weekend. The way the teams actually looked on the field, Georgia just didn't look that great. Bama controlled that entire game. That's not what I was expecting. And then, Florida State looked terrible. Once Florida State looked terrible, I thought, okay, I was talking about it's okay to leave out Florida State. I didn't know if they'd actually do it, but once they looked that bad, I was like, okay, I think this is actually going to happen. And then all the steam started to pick up. Everyone was tweeting Texas. Everyone was tweeting Texas in the top four. The odds started to move. So I felt pretty decent going into the selection show. Overall reaction, yeah, I think it's funny the committee ended up getting the 4 teams that I think should have been in there. We can debate the order or whatever. Maybe you guys don't agree that the right 4 teams are in there, but I think the right 4 teams are in there. the matchup versus Washington. It's going to be crazy. We got a month to talk about it. We might need a month to talk about it. It's going to be a great game. But yeah, overall, it was just a hectic weekend. I thought Texas is just crazy because I went to the weekend. I was like, all right, need a Georgia win, need an FSU loss. And then, we get a Bama win and an FSU win. And I went to bed like feeling okay. And it's just like everything just happened so fast, but it worked out.
Yeah, I mentioned I wasn't really surprised off the top of the rip of the show, and I think honestly FSU is getting left out no matter what. Especially with I think that even if FSU didn't look that bad, I think Texas looking that good, you would have been hard pressed to find a single person that didn't think Texas was a top 4 team. Whether it was eye test, whether it was resume, whatever it was, you were hard pressed to find that. I know Bama beating Georgia strengthened the Bama win, but I could not believe the amount of people that there was a good number of people that thought that if Georgia lost the game to Alabama, that we were out. We were the team that was out. That because there was a thought and a feeling that they wanted to put in a Georgia no matter what. Like Georgia was getting in.
I thought that was a real possibility. I
definitely did too.
When you got down to the numbers, right, and like what the committee said, the committee was saying they were time and time again. They showed it every single time. If you had a head-to-head win, that was what mattered. They mentioned it multiple times. They mentioned, hey, we don't care if the head-to-head is now. We don't care if it's back in September. Head-to-head's a head-to-head. The one thing that is my initial reaction is Texas has a chance to. This is the hardest playoff to ever get into for the college football playoff. So just by winning this national championship, this will have been the hardest national championship to win for whatever team wins it. Texas has a chance to really be the first true, like, undisputed, there's no way that you could ever dispute a champion. If we go out there and we beat Washington and Michigan were to beat Alabama and then we were to beat Michigan in the national championship, Texas will have been the first team in the history of the college football playoff. I guess there's only 2 teams competing, the BCS before that. But out of championship qualified teams, Texas will be the first team to have a win against every single one of those teams if we win a national championship. And then if you want to branch off that, we'll look at Michigan State. Michigan's beat Ohio State. Alabama's beat Georgia. Florida State beat LSU. I know Florida State's on the Washington's beat Oregon. This is if Texas were to win this national championship, it would be massive. Like, this is just Texas has a chance to do something that's never been done before.
Yeah. No, I mean, it would be quite an accomplishment because, like you said, this year it's just been a juggernaut. I mean, there are a lot of good teams. There are a lot of good teams that deserve to be in this thing. Yeah, it would be absolutely incredible.
And a 12-team playoff would look amazing this year.
It would have been. It should have been. And listen, I think at the end of the day, did they probably get the best 4 teams? I don't know. Somebody can make a case that Georgia would make a case that they are still probably one of the best 4 teams in the country. But I think they came pretty close to getting the best 4 teams. I do think Florida State got snubbed, frankly. And listen, we've talked all year long about that Texas win versus Alabama. That should put us in over Alabama. The head-to-head, the games on the field have to count, right? Well, the games on the field didn't count for Florida State. They went out and won the damn thing undefeated. They won them all, including 2 without their starting quarterback, including the ACC championship game with a 3rd-string freshman quarterback. They did it by playing team football. It wasn't just the quarterback, right? The defense went out and dominated. They won them all. I think they got snubbed. I think they deserved a shot to be in the playoffs.
And I mean, look, you don't even have to. You can go further than because I think they got it right, but I certainly this is one thing that I think that there's a lot of arguments for both sides to be had.
Sure.
Florida State, look at Florida State, because somebody, I forget who said this, but it was such a great point. They're 4-0 versus the SEC. People say, oh, well, Florida State, you got this because you didn't go schedule hard team. They scheduled Florida and LSU.
They opened the season.
What do you want? And when they scheduled them, that's a very important part. Florida was up. Yeah. LSU had just won a national championship, so they went out and scheduled two of the hardest opponents that they could get in the non-conference. They go and they win that. I just like –
And they did a better job, by the way, against Jaden Daniels, who's likely to win the Heisman Trophy, than anybody else did all season.
I
feel him down in the second.
I feel terrible for those players. I feel terrible for because like a guy like Jordan Travis, who he's blaming himself, saying, "Man, I wish I got earlier so you could see how Trey Benson and all these other guys how they don't need me to win these games." That sucks, because that's something that's going to rest on his shoulders for honestly the rest of his life, because he's not playing college football anymore. Let's just call it what it is.
So FSU's coach said, quote, "I am disgusted and infuriated with the committee's decision today to have what was earned on the field taken away because a small group of people decided they knew better than the results of the game." And damn, it's hard to argue with the guy, right? It's hard to argue with him. But Aaron's going to give it a shot. Go ahead, Aaron.
I mean, it is hard to argue with it. I do feel bad for the Florida State fans. I feel bad for the Florida State players and coaches, but I just think this year was an unprecedented year, where any other year, like, oh man, Jordan Travis broke his leg, they still get in if there's not like this Texas team that is rolling right now, a Bama team that is rolling right now, a Georgia team that was really, really, really good. Like, there were so many deserving teams in a normal year where there's just 4 or 5 maybe teams. Florida State's in, but I don't have a problem with them getting left out, because at the end of the day, it sucks. It sucks for Florida State, but their offense was cooked. I mean, they didn't have anything left on offense, and they were not one of the best 4 teams. It wasn't even close. They wouldn't be favored against teams 1 through 10 through possibly even 15. It was hard to watch, and the college football playoff semifinal games have been so bad over the years, with a couple good ones mixed in, but I think it was the right call in a year where there were so many good deserving teams. Putting that version of Florida State in, it would have been fine because they're an undefeated Power 5 champ, but it would have been a disservice to the sport, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Here's the deal. The writing was on the wall too when they had that when they went out there and had the terrible game. Anybody that thought Florida State was getting in over Bama or Texas it was wishful thinking at best. Because you look at that, like, this is something that's wild to me. I have more fingers than Florida State had yards on Louisville in the first quarter. They only had 4 yards total offense on the first quarter. They literally had no success until they started running Talafili at the wildcat position. And even then, it was just such little success. And then you also have Louisville dropping touchdown passes. This was just.
Yeah, I really thought Louisville would play better in that game.
Florida State found a way. I kid you not. This is the craziest thing. Iowa was playing better versus Michigan. Like, Iowa had a better offense than Florida State did. If Florida State looked like Iowa on offense, they might be in the college football playoff right now. But that's how bad they looked. And something that's really the irony has not been lost on me. We wanted Florida State out of the playoff to avoid a Georgia-Florida State matchup, and we got it anyways.
I mean, Saturday night was just – we had Joe Tessitore calling the ACC game and Gus Johnson calling the Big Ten game. It was like taking these beautiful, bald eagles and just clipping their wings and telling them you're not allowed to fly because you are watching Iowa and you were watching Louisville and you were watching Florida State play football.
Well, I'll be honest. I was at a Christmas party, so I wasn't watching.
Good for you, man.
That Michigan-Iowa game went exactly as everybody thought.
100%. Major, thank you for the $5 super chat. I'm happy y'all 3 are not smoking Oregon crack anymore. Hey,
Oregon quack.
You guys can do it if you want. My name's Aaron. I was wrong about the Oregon Ducks. I was smoking too much quack. I know, Travis. I'm gonna say the same thing, but
yeah.
But larger point here. holy crap, college football, life comes at you fast. Going into the weekend, Las Vegas, who, okay, yeah, of course they get games wrong. They know a little bit about football. Call me crazy. Their two highest power rated teams going into the weekend were Georgia and Oregon. You wake up Saturday morning as a Georgia fan or an Oregon fan. If you're a Georgia fan, you are on a 30 whatever game win streak. You are the back-to-back national champs. You are favored to beat Alabama by 5.5 points. If you are Oregon, you are the team the committee loves. Everyone's talking about your 35-year-old QB. He's going to win the Heisman. He's got the best completion percentage of all time. You're number 2 in the power ratings. You are favored by 10 over an undefeated team that you just beat. And now you fast forward to Sunday afternoon. Oregon, you're playing Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl, and everyone is dunking on you on Twitter all weekend. In Georgia, you are suddenly out of the playoffs. Like, winning streak is over. SEC title gone. Nick Saban is about to take back the crown potentially. Like, whew. Life comes at you fast.
Hey, Aaron.
Holy crap.
Aaron, it's almost like playing a hard strength of schedule actually matters.
Unreal.
It wouldn't have if I think they would have been in too had they.
Well, I mean, the only reason why I say that is because they didn't play. They were both teams that didn't play a lot of tough games. I mean,
but you know what? We got to give credit to Washington. We got to give credit to Washington for going out and doing the damn thing. You don't think they were pissed all week that they were the undefeated team? They were the team that had already defeated Oregon, and they were 10-point dogs. You don't think they didn't put that chip on their shoulder? Absolutely they did. They went out and they didn't just sneak by Oregon. They won that game. They were the better team by far on the field Friday night.
I mean,
so it was kudos to them.
The biggest thing was the run, the run. Oregon could not this is where I think the strength of schedule goes into play too, especially for Oregon. And this is something I'm going to directly compare to Texas. This Texas run defense that we've had is one of it has to be the best I've ever seen in my lifetime. Maybe set aside 2008, 2009, I think the 2007 or 2006 season was also pretty good. But this is the best run defense in the country, no doubt. There's not a defense that has been tested as much as Texas has with top 25 rushing offenses. You got. I know these aren't all top 25 rushing offenses, but Devin Neal, he's a top 25 runner in college football. Taj Brooks, Ollie Gordon, all guys that have been, going and putting up ludicrous numbers in games, and they've all been held under 100 yards. Facing the Kansas State offense, shutting them down. This is Washington. They looked like they had a good run defense as well. Like their numbers stacked up right next to Texas. But they hadn't played the same amount of quality football teams, quality running football teams that Texas has had. And it paid. They had to pay for it. It showed on the field. You go and you look at how Dylan Johnson was. I mean, it was 4 to 8 carries. I thought Washington did themselves a disservice not running the ball as much as they should. And I think that he also did he was banged up going into the game, so that kind of explains a little bit of that. But they
were slowed down too much. He still had 150-yard rush.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I'll say it didn't look like he had any ankle issues heading into that game.
So I did want to get y'all's initial. Let's all three. We're going to go through and kind of quickly give just an initial reaction to the matchup between Washington versus Texas. We're going to talk about this a lot in the coming days and weeks. A lot. But Monday morning, the game is set. I want your initial reaction to the matchup between Texas and Washington. Nash, we'll start with you, then go Aaron, and then I'll wrap it up.
My initial reaction is there's tons of great matchups across the board. Texas has a slight edge in the defense area. Offensively, Washington has a slight edge. If you're concerned about the Texas defense, passing defense, well, hey, I got good news for you. Somehow the Washington passing defense is worse than Texas. So tons of great matchups. We'll be able to go over them in depth in the coming weeks. But yeah, those are my initial reactions. Lots of good matchups, but I think Texas on paper is clearly on paper, not on the football field. Texas should be slightly favored, as you've seen with the 4-point favorite, opening 4-point favorite.
Aaron?
Yeah, Texas being favored by 4, definitely encouraging there. First reaction, yeah, this is going to be This is probably going to be a barn burner. This is probably going to be a really sweaty game. It's going to be a tough one to watch as a fan. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. I think it is going to come down to the red zone and which team can force the other team to score in the red zone and prevent the big plays. If Texas is able to score, from the 50, from the 40, generate a ton of explosive plays and not have to worry about their red zone offense, that's going to be huge. If Texas can force Washington into the red zone to where Washington isn't able to score on big explosive plays, that's where you can see the Texas red zone defense, which is the strength of the team, shine. Because in this type of game where the total is in the 60s and there's going to be so many points, settling for field goals and not getting touchdowns will cost someone the game. So which team can prevent explosive plays and specifically explosive touchdowns and force the opposing offense to execute in the red zone? Because Texas doesn't have the best red zone offense. It was better this weekend for sure. And Texas has a really good red zone defense. So that was my first thought. Obviously, we're going to break it down for a month. We're going to watch film. We're going to look at all the numbers. But my first thought was which team can force the other team to play in the red zone, and then which team can win the red zone battle, because settling for field goals is going to be how you lose this game.
And watching that matchup, that's going to be a fun matchup to watch, because Washington is one of the better. When you look at specific, we've mentioned this a ton. There's red zone conversions and there's touchdown
percentages.
Touchdown percentage. This game. What, like if you actually look at the red zone conversion numbers at Washington, they're not that great. The touchdowns they are. they scored. Now, good thing is Texas faced a lot of these teams: Texas, Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Alabama.
Yeah. So my thought was, my initial reaction was, oh crap, Washington was not the team I wanted to face because of Michael Penix Jr., because of Rome Odunze, because of Jalen McMillan. I mean, they have horses to run. I mean, they really, I really wanted Michigan, if I'm being honest. If you're a Texas fan, Michigan wanted Texas and bring it on. Michigan doesn't want any of that smoke, I promise you.
That was so funny watching the reaction of Michigan fans sitting there saying, "Oh, we wish we could choose. We should be able to choose our opponent."
Yeah,
we wish you could too. We wish the rules were different.
and I wish it would have been nice to have Texas going to the Rose Bowl. Frankly,
Texas in the Rose Bowl,
that's our house.
Would have been awesome.
We don't lose in the Rose Bowl, but it didn't take long for me to realize we've seen a change over the last 2 weeks. I loved Jonathan Brooks being out on the field for the last snap, but this is Quinn Ewers' team now. Sark is putting the ball in Quinn's hands. He did it against Tech. He did it against Oklahoma State this past weekend. It is his team. He's taking the lead. And even Sark in the presser yesterday after they got announced, after the playoffs got announced, said, quote, "We are at our best when we're an attacking style of team." And I think we're seeing that. And as we've talked about, and you guys have put it up in the chat multiple times, Washington has the 122nd ranked pass defense. And they haven't faced, Bo Nix, they faced him twice. So clearly they faced a good quarterback. They faced Caleb Williams. Quinn Ewers is going to be probably the third best quarterback they face, because mixed in with outside of those two, the Pac-12 has a lot of DJ Uiagalelei, who's not very good. They've got running quarterbacks at Arizona. They've got Dante Moore at UCLA, was a freshman and struggled some. They haven't faced Quinn Ewers. This is his team now, and I'm fully comfortable, and I fully expect Sark to put the ball in Quinn's hands. By the way, talk about last year's Alamo Bowl. Quinn's second half was phenomenal. He struggled the first half, came out in the second half and lit him up. And it was like I think Texas, if they had another half, were going to win that game. And this team is better than last year's team. I don't yet know. I haven't dug into Washington enough to know, but I'm not sure this year's Washington version is better than last year's Washington. I thought last year's was really one of the more underrated teams in all of college football. But their defensive struggles this year, I don't think they're matching up with where they were last year. So like I said, my initial reaction was this is not the team that Texas wanted, and now I'm the opposite. I think this is not the team Washington wanted. They didn't want Texas matches up against their weaknesses better than anybody else in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be breaking down this game a lot over the next month. There's a lot of good talk to come, but I said it. We're going to have to get to the Big 12 title game because we haven't even got to talk about that. It's been all college football playoffs so far. We've got to talk about what happened in Arlington.
And Travis, I did want to add one point backed up on the Quinn thing because I think the difference in the last 2 weeks, if you look at the press conference, I like to listen to the players because sometimes the players will accidentally give you an insight to what's going on inside the building. And Sark downplayed, I didn't tell them directly, hey, we need to start playing well because we need to go out there and we need to win with style points so that we can get he didn't say that directly. But if you listen to what Quinn Ewers and Jalen Ford said, it was, like Quinn Ewers, he said, we won the last couple of games with the mentality that we need to show this committee what we're truly capable of. And I think that a little extra motivation helped us succeed. Jalen Ford, all collectively having that same goal of trying to win a national championship, talking about the very beginning of the year, but the type of team talent that we have built. And then he said later on, it was just about handling business, knowing that we had small room for error. And then if we lose again, that would definitely hurt us. So I think that our mentality was we got no room for error. This team, I think that the last 2 weeks, and this is really when you started to hear the style points conversation ramp up. And you start to see a little bit of a national narrative of Texas might be the one that's left out of the playoff. I think it's a chip on the shoulder. I think that this is why that you like to what you said about I wouldn't want to face this Texas team if I was Washington. I wouldn't want to face this Texas team if I was Alabama, even if I have the revenge factor on my mind. Because you don't want to face a team that has a chip on their shoulder. And when you have a talent combined with a point to prove, that's a good football team.
It's going to be fun to watch them play. But like I said, we are going to hit up the Big 12 championship game next. But first, if you went to Arlington, I hope you took our advice and hit up Specs on the way, because otherwise you probably were struggling to find a great place to go get something to drink. And damn, there was a lot to celebrate on Saturday. So if you are just getting home and you need a recovery day, that's fine. But also the holidays are coming up. So get it in now, but also get ready for the holidays. And the best place to do that is Specs. Like I said, there's Texas locations. It's a Texas company. They're all over the place. You can find them they're probably around the corner. They're easy to find. And if you don't want to go, that's fine. If you were looking for fine beers, craft beers, fine wines, good spirits, even good food, hit the Specs chat or the Specs online or the Specs app, and you can have it delivered.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
All righty. I love the Specs chat.
Yeah, I love the comment section. Jeremiah, I drank like a fish this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was about to pull up too.
Hey, and Russell, yeah, get your cigars from Spec. It's not just fine wine, not just drinks, not those little, what do I like to call uppity cheeses.
For those of you who don't remember, uppity in Nash's world is any cheese that doesn't come in a can. So, just. You and I are never ever going to agree about that, Nash.
No, it's the pretentious nature of giving me something that's so small that it's something made for a toddler.
It's not.
You now charge 4 times the price of the cheese that. I'll go buy some Hill Country Fare all day long, and
all right,
sliced cheese is sliced cheese.
All right. Hey, we got $1.99 super chat coming in, and it's a great way to get into the game. Thank you, James, for the support. The Big 12 is a sewer. So glad to leave that.
What's the Big 12? I've never heard of the Big 12 before. I know I've heard of the Mid 12. I don't know what this Big 12 conference you're talking about.
It's the conference we still have to contend with in baseball, by the way. But football is done. Texas goes out, last season in the Big 12 as champs, same way. They started at 1996, 2023, bookends, put them up. The Longhorns come out of Arlington with a 49-21 win. I predicted a 52-17 win, and damn it, Bert Auburn misses the field goal. That would have put the Horns up to 52, and I was so irritated. It also would have helped me win my prize picks, but that's okay. That's the only complaint I had about Saturday in what was otherwise a phenomenal game for the Longhorns. Like I said, Quinn Ewers, it's his team. He had 452 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. All those touchdowns came in the first half. He had the MVP, the new stupid WWE MVP title belt, locked up by the first quarter. I mean, he was phenomenal.
Travis is going to hate my shirt in a couple days.
I'm not going to. I just, look, all right, I'm not a wrestling fan. Never have been.
Neither am I, but I don't know. I kind of like it.
I think the marketing collaboration with the WWE is kind of stupid, but I get it's other people love it. That's fine. I'm not judging it. Not my thing. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, Quinn Ewers looked great. He spread the ball around a lot, by the way. He hit Adonai Mitchell, Jatavian Sanders, both went over 100 yards. Xavier Worthy probably would have if he hadn't gotten injured. By the way, I failed to mention this earlier. Sark did say that Ryan Watts and Xavier Worthy are likely both to be able to be ready to go for the Sugar Bowl. So that's a good thing.
Well, Worthy post game, Sark said X-rays came back, and it really felt like the way that he answered that question that he was saying, look, if it was a close game, Worthy would be back on the field right now, but we're putting precautions. He's in the boot.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that too. I mean, there was no reason to put him back on the field.
No, absolutely not.
That game was done already.
We were actually already saying, take Quinn out, please. No more. And
exactly.
And please, learn how to slide. Learn how
that last hit was.
I get going for the first down, right? Being the quarterback and wanting to get the first down. Brother, it's 49-14. let it go.
So let's get to the game, guys. What was your reaction? I mean, what stood out to you? Not what was your reaction. I mean, your reaction was joy. Aaron's already said it was the best football day of his life for as a Texas Longhorn.
Sunday was. Yeah.
So Sunday was. Although then you had to sit through the Chargers game, which come on, that had to be.
Yeah, we're not worried about the Chargers right now.
Okay. What was your reaction to the game on Saturday then?
First off, we got a lot of people watching. Please hit the like button. Please hit that thumbs up. Really helps us out. We appreciate everyone watching right now. I thought that the game was just a cherry on top to what was an incredible regular season, final season in the Big 12, and then a Big 12 title. My number one thing coming into the year, when I just looked at the team on paper and I thought, okay, third year of Sark, second year of Quinn, you've got Xavier Worthy, you've got Jatavian Sanders, you've got Adonai Mitchell, you've got Jordan Whittington back. Sark was hired because he is an awesome play caller. He is the passing game guru. He had everything he could have possibly wanted with this offense, and specifically the passing offense. And my number one thing coming into the year was this passing offense just has to be incredible if this is all going how it's supposed to go. And this was just the cherry on top. Quinn absolutely killing it in yet another big game. Sark just absolutely dialed in. Perfect game plan, perfect play designs. The double pass early in the game. I mean, just getting Tavondre Sweat the touchdown, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Open passes to Worthy, open passes to Mitchell, making Quinn's life easy while still running the ball, utilizing Keelan Robinson out of the backfield, getting the ball to Baxter in space. This was just the culmination of everything that this Steve Sarkisian offense is supposed to look like. And to do it when all the pressure was on Texas. I mean, Oklahoma State, yeah, they wanted to win a Big 12 title. All the pressure was on Texas. And this team did not look like it had an ounce of pressure on it from the very beginning. Just like the Texas Tech game, they came out the gate, 3 and out, get the ball back, go score a touchdown. That makes the game so much easier from a mental perspective. And again, this team was ready to go. They had a plan that was clearly an excellent plan, and they went out and executed it. And my main takeaway is just like props to Sark, man, because this was his thing, man. He brought Quinn in. This is his offense. He brought in Adonai Mitchell. Like, he got Xavier Worthy to be this productive of a player. And yeah, man, he deserved this moment, and this was just a hell of a way to end this Big 12 run.
Yeah, you bet your sweet patootie we're going to talk about T'Vondre Sweat getting that touchdown. You bet. I'm talking about that. What stood out to me, T'Vondre Sweat hitting the Heisman pose. I love that. He looked like he was about to spike the thing and ended up hitting the Heisman. That was a better celebration. But yeah, talk about Quinn Ewers spreading the ball around, getting the ball into a defensive tackle's hands. Like Steve Sarkisian, you have a pass play where there's the only two passing options are defensive tackles out there running around. That's just something that's funny to me. I will say, yeah, this game was. You talked about their ability to play with the pressure on. I do hear the whole, going out there and, scoring first, 3 and out, scoring again, but we've done that before. And we've had times where we have a 21-point lead, and it's just like previous years where we give it up. This team finished the last few weeks. They have, like, when it gets time to try to let, like, when a team is trying to get some air, right? And they're gasping for air. Texas is just sitting there yanking them back down, saying, no, we're going to continue to drown you. We're going to smother you. And you're not going to get anything on us. And if you do, it's going to be a fluke. And we're going to quickly remind you that you only got that because it was short field position, or you only got that because of a small circumstance that went in your favor. And honestly, I think that the thing that the last 2 games did more than anything was it showed Steve Sarkisian has not been, lying, that this team is extremely versatile. We can beat teams on the ground. We can beat teams through the air. If you're a team that's going up against Texas, those last 2 games have to put a little bit of fear in your heart, because this Texas team, they're going out there with a point to prove.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did want to say Sark's talked about that. And to some degree, when Texas was kind of struggling through the not struggling, but not winning with style points, if you will, during the mid part of the season, he would say that and people would kind of roll their eyes. But it's true. Texas has won in a variety of ways, and that bodes well, very well, for Texas going into the playoffs.
It's easy. I was just going to add, it's easy to talk. My bad. It's easy to talk, but it's harder to walk the walk.
Yeah, and listen, I will ask you to please not talk about my sweet patootie in the future. Texas Mon.
No, that was Aaron's
not potato, but my sweet patootie is my sweet patootie, and this is a safe zone here.
That is an Oxford Dictionary word, by the way.
I know, but it's. I want us to maintain.
I'm talking about
office environment. My patootie is my patootie, Nash. Just that's no means no.
We got to hit up HR.
No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, listen. I did want to mention 2 other things, by the way, a couple other things.
HR is sticking us in a room with Alex, and Alex being the mediator for a.
Oh God, that can you imagine Alex Dunlap being HR? This is cockamamie.
all HR would be is, okay, here we have a dude clip selected for you.
Envisioning every single person that works for Orange was as the HR rep is just a completely different walk. That is just a great mental exercise.
I love that. By the way, I gotta. We're running out of time. We gotta hit a lot of things, but there's 2 final things I wanted to hit about the Big 12 championship game. And I know we only have an hour. We could have done an entire hour on the playoffs. We could have done an entire hour on the Big 12 championship game, but there's just none of them.
I feel we'll do plenty of hours in the future.
That's true. I do have to say, I told you guys, and everyone knew it, of course, but the Yormark booing followed by the SEC chants, somebody posted in my column on Orange Bloods last week. They were like, I hope Texas fans have the class not to do that. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Look, first, I was like, Yormark brought this upon himself with the Texas Tech comments. He earned that booing. He earned it with his own words. And let's face it, Yormark's an adult. He's not sweating that. He's not going home crying over it.
He's probably not going home crying, Travis, but man, that guy was shook. I mean, he was rattled. He could not get his words out. And like, he just took the mic. He was just like shaking. He's like, no, guys, it's all good. It's all good. It's fine. And then he like halfway in, he's like, in Texas should be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, no, that you could tell he had reached you could tell he hit rock bottom when he was like, because he was like, I got to get this crowd off me, and how I do that is, y'all look great. Y'all are going to the national championship. And
thanks, Brett. And it was just like, and congratulations, and boo, and congratulations.
My favorite part about that.
He couldn't even say Sark. Like it was
and
that guy.
Sark's over there,
my favorite part
was crowd down. But he was smiling the whole time.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. You could tell Steve Sarkisian was, I mean, he was doing his best to be as political as possible. Like he was like, just okay, don't smile, don't laugh. You can tell he wanted to rip one of these.
You had 100 football players in pads right there 2 feet away. And half of them were doing the chant, half of them were hyping up the crowd, and it was all like 2 feet away from Yormark. And he was looking into the eyes of all these guys that were just celebrating and going crazy. And like he knew it was going to be bad. I think it was worse than he expected because he clearly had prepared stuff to say, and he was rattled.
It was like
Aaron, if he thought it was going to be that bad, there's no way he steps up on the stage. He would have had somebody else go and do it.
I mean, he literally had to.
I mean, like it literally, like it was literally a point where it was just like, okay, here, you take this thing. I'm gonna walk off the stage, and I'm going to walk off this field as fast as. I mean, he scurried away.
Absolutely, it was 2 straight minutes, and he earned every minute of it, every second of it. The other thing is, we already mentioned the possibility of Malik going into the portal. I truly felt bad for this guy. He comes into the game, and it was fine. You know, I was glad he got into the game, but then as soon as Arch Manning comes into the game, the crowd goes nuts. And I'm like, God, just, I get you're excited about Arch. I really do. But it just felt like a kind of a little, and it wasn't intentional. Nobody was doing that to get Malik. It was all about in celebration of Arch, but it still had to pain him. It still had to, because I don't know that they're outside of stepping in as the starter and taking Texas back to the playoffs next year. I don't know that there's anything Malik can do to win over the crowd the same way Arch already has them. And it's tough.
Well, let's be honest. It's an unfortunate circuit. And here's the deal. I think as much as fans like to say, "Oh, we don't watch star ratings," that doesn't matter. If Malik Murphy was a 1.00 quarterback, they'd be cheering the same way as when Arch Manning goes out there on the field. I hate how much recruiting affects our perception of a player's ability to play. Like early on in the season, I guarantee you, there was 1 million people saying David Benda, we need to get him off the field. We need to get some of these younger, more talented guys on the field. I mean, like you look at a Tavondre Sweat, a former 3-star. Star ratings that they are important. Let's not sit here and act like having a 30th rating recruiting class is the same as a top 5, right? But the star rating doesn't define everybody, and that sucks. When you add the star rating and the Manning name, I don't think there's ever going to be a quarterback that's going to get the same reception that Manning has ever been.
You guys are totally right. It's a tough situation for Malik overall, the way it all played out. But, man, Arch Manning taking the ball, taking the knee and flipping it to Jonathan Brooks.
It was a sweet end to this.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I didn't cry, but I will be honest. As a grown man, I was close to getting some watery eyes. Like that was one where it actually I felt it in my chest. I was like, man, like this. that felt like one of the bigger moments on the football field because I talked about this on the Fanatic Perspective show, live show. Man, when you talk about baseball and football and basketball and baseball are two of the sports that you see it the most. When you see a curtain call for a guy, right? They throw a guy on the field, pull him off, just so the fans can applaud it for one last time. To be able to, hey, throw some pads on, man, get out there, like be on the field, because we would not have been here without you, right? This is because of you and your efforts. And if you notice too, Arch Manning, like you mentioned, he flipped him. That was Jonathan Brooks' ball, right? The ball that was the final snap in the Big 12 championship on a way for a Texas potential national championship run. That was Jonathan Brooks' ball. I mean, man, for the season that he's had, what a classy way to do that, Sark.
That was absolutely the best way to end that game.
It would have been such a good nonsense prediction of the week. That was my first thought. I was like, oh man, what if the nonsense prediction of the week would have been Arch Manning takes the last snap with Jonathan Brooks in the backfield? Like that would have just been an all-time legendary.
If you did that, you'd have the CIA would be knocking on your door saying, "You're okay, Nostradamus, come with me."
I mean, you really could have, if you would have thought about it for like a super, super, super long time and been like, okay, I think they're going to win by 1,000,000 points. What is the final kneel down going to look like? You theoretically maybe could have gotten there, but it would have been a hell of a call.
That would have been some novelesque level thinking.
Yep.
It
would have been like Kresge good. That was,
And ESM in the chat, Jonathan Brooks having ACL surgery tomorrow. Good luck, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, look, he's taking the final snap in the game and getting the game ball, and 2 days later having ACL surgery. So,
I mean, but that's honestly the surgery is probably I'd view that as a positive, because it's kind of for Jonathan Brooks. This is what sucked is like a lot of times you want to get that surgery as fast as possible, but you got to let the swelling go down. So he's in all honesty, Jonathan Brooks probably celebrating this.
Absolutely, he's celebrating this. So the final thing I wanted to get to is a couple of other bowl matchups that got announced. I honestly believe OU should have gotten in to the Cotton Bowl over Ole Miss. It's debatable. It's not a shocker, but Sandman correctly points us out OU and the Alamo Bowl. Who could have seen that coming?
OU and the Alamo Bowl, Texas A&M in the Texas Bowl. Life is
that was the other one. Oklahoma State going to play Texas A&M in the Alamo Bowl. In the Texas Bowl. I was actually hoping for a little stronger team, somebody like Kansas State, although they don't have their quarterback now. He's also in the transfer portal. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that game. I think SMU got snubbed. I don't think Liberty should be in. I think SMU earned that. But Liberty's had a hell of a season, so that's fine.
Let's be honest. Best possible bowl outcome is Texas wins the national championship, OU loses, and Texas A&M loses.
I mean, I'm just glad all the OU fans and all the A&M fans just get to take in Texas college football playoff talk for a month straight before the game even starts. And it's going to help Texas in the portal. It's going to help Texas in recruiting, try to flip some guys potentially. And the A&M fans and the OU fans, they just get to hear people talk about Texas, Washington. Because we've been on the other side. OU's made the playoffs a few times, and I'm just glad that the shoe is on the other foot now. It's very delicious.
It is delicious. It is, and to your point, Nash. By the way, two things that you said that I want to wrap up real quick. One is, if you do need to cry, it's okay to go into the Alex Dunlap HR office. That's a safe space. You can cry there without any shame. There should be no shame in men crying anyway, but that's a safe space that you can cry in. And then I forgot what the second point was after I said that. So, the other thing that Aaron said is we've got like a month straight of college football playoff talk. Listen, guys, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in the chat, anyone watching this live or later, we talked about you can get your pre-order in for Kelvin Banks now. The other thing that is a time-sensitive offer is 50% off Orange Bloods if you sign up now with the promo code So Long Big 12. I mean, come on. Can you find a better promo code than that? I don't think so. If you're not an Orange Bloods member, what are you waiting for? This is a flash sale. If the offer ends today, go check out orangebloods.com. You can sign up and get 50% off. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that, right? So scan this QR code, go check it out. There's going to be a lot of great content throughout the month coming into the playoffs. The portal opens today. There's going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of chatter, a lot of good news, not speculation. There will be a lot of good, informed, behind-the-scenes information about Texas's portal recruiting on orangebloods.com throughout this open window. The signing period is coming up. Kobe Black has his announcement date set. 5-star cornerback, looking good for Texas. Oh, and the portal, Kobe's brother Corey, who went off injured, who plays for Oklahoma State, went off injured in Saturday's game. He could be portaling somewhere too, maybe somewhere in with Orange Bloods running through their vein. Just saying. So
no, Ollie Gordon though. Ollie Gordon can stay at Oklahoma State. You can stay there.
Ollie Gordon earned every bit of ridicule too with his antics.
Oh yeah, he asked for it.
Only to get 13 carries and 34 yards. Yeah,
and you know what? Hey, that 50% off, that's looking awfully good. I mean, you got not just I know football season's coming to an end right now, but you got Texas baseball look prime for a great season and tons of. I mean, honestly, I'll say I don't think that, and this is no bias at all. I don't think there's a single site that has the level of baseball coverage that Orange Bloods has between Aaron and Zach. It's just absolutely. And then also Travis too. But it's occasional stuff. But like they're the clear full-time baseball guys. Yeah, if you need any information, it's D1 baseball and Aaron Little and Zach at the dish.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Nash. I was gonna try to bring that up, but yeah, I mean the football coverage is amazing. You've got so many great people that do so many different angles, every angle you could possibly think of. Keenan is awesome with the basketball. He knows the game inside and out. And then yeah, for those of you guys that do love baseball, all of the baseball writers and all of the media, like everyone does a really good job, but Orange Bloods we just have the most. I mean, Zach and we're the only two people at the Fall World Series. We are at every single game. We just have the most coverage. So you've got to take advantage of it.
Y'all are the only two. They are the only two people that are actually dedicated to baseball.
Yeah. And it's not only, by the way, they have baseball nuggets in just about every war room that comes out on Thursday night, which is the report where, all the juiciest nuggets get released on Thursday night in the war room.
Hey, we're about to get baseball,
but
here too.
Football and basketball. The war room alone is worth signing up for. Oh, and I don't know. There's a good column comes out on Wednesday from some dude. I don't remember.
Travis helps with baseball too, and he has really good Wednesday columns. A couple chats here. Texas Boys super chat. He would take Texas Tech's.
I wouldn't take any RB. We got plenty of RBs. We got.
And then look at this one. We got new ESM clients.
It happened. I'm not gonna lie. I might have heard that there's a potential for Flores and LBJ. Man, to see LBJ and Flores, I wish there was one.
Tanner Witt.
Hey, we're gonna come. No, I know. I'm mentioning the names that I heard that there was a possibility for. But yes, hey, and like I said earlier, ESM, he's got a pretty good eye for those. He's pretty good at scouting. So
yeah, guys. Take advantage of that offer. Just go to Orange Bloods. Use the promo code SOLONGBIG12. Please hit the like button. It really helps us out. Leave some comments if you want to do that too. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, the baseball stuff, that's awesome. We're going to come up with some really fun ways to guess the comments to try to win some jerseys for baseball season. So I'm already looking forward to that.
Love it, guys. Listen, we only had an hour. We could have gone 8 hours today easily, and with all the stuff we have to talk to, but that's okay. We're not leaving you high and dry. Coming up next is Anwar's Old Fashioned Sports Show. followed, and he's going to have Jeff Ketchum on for their Monday morning Overreaction Monday segment, which is always a great reaction, followed by House Divided with Jeff Ketchum and Chad Hastings. And then, of course, we've got Football with Friends with Alex Dunlap, our local HR rep, and OB Outsiders tonight. Chance Mock was in Austin. I'm sure will have plenty to say about it was in Arlington. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say about the Big 12 championship game and the college football playoffs. It's just so much good content coming in. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss it. Hey, for Aaron, Orange Blood Zone, Aaron Little, and Nash from Texas, who loves talking them horns. Guys, I am Travis Gailey. Hope you have a fantastic, celebratory, party it up Monday. Your Longhorns are going to the college football playoffs. See ya.